The stars above glowed faintly in the dark sky, but they could not prepare humanity for what was coming. On a quiet evening, a massive ship descended silently from space. Its surface shimmered with strange lights, moving in patterns no human had ever seen. People across the globe looked up, mesmerized and terrified. Before anyone could react, the ship hovered over a remote research facility, its presence heavy and unnatural. Inside the ship, advanced alien beings moved swiftly. Their skin had a faint metallic sheen, and their eyes reflected the light like polished crystals. They were doctors, scientists of the highest order in their civilization, trained to study life forms across galaxies. Yet, nothing they had encountered before could prepare them for humans. On Earth, small groups of people were being collected. There were no screams, no panic at first. The aliens moved like shadows, silent and precise. One by one, humans found themselves inside the alien vessel. Bright, sterile lights bathed them, and strange instruments hovered in the air. The humans were calm but alert. They looked around with curiosity, trying to understand the strange beings towering over them. The lead alien doctor, tall and elegant, examined the first human brought in. Its movements were careful, almost hesitant, as if expecting some unknown danger. The human stood still, heart racing, but eyes steady. The alien sensor scanned every part of the human body. Then it came to the blood. The device floated near the human's arm, and a small prick drew a drop of blood. The moment it appeared, the alien's antennae twitched, and its eyes widened. The color shocked it. Deep red, bright and vivid, unlike anything the alien had ever seen. Its companions gathered, whispering among themselves in a language that sounded like music and metal clashing together. "It's impossible," one whispered. "What is this color?" "It should not exist," another replied, voice trembling slightly. The humans, unaware of the conversation, noticed the strange reactions. Some tilted their heads, curiosity growing. One young woman asked, "Are you doctors? Are you going to help us?" The aliens paused. They were not lying. Helping was their purpose. But this blood, this color, was wrong. It indicated something the aliens could barely understand. Humans were biologically unlike any life form they had encountered. It was efficient, strong, alive in a way that made even the most confident alien uneasy. Another human, a man with quiet courage, watched the reactions. His mind raced. He had always thought humans were fragile, weak, slow to react. But seeing the alien shock gave him an edge, a small, dangerous advantage. They were experts, but humans were unpredictable. That unpredictability made them dangerous. Even now, the lead alien doctor finally spoke, its voice calm but tight with tension. "Prepare the observation chambers. We must study them carefully." The humans were led down narrow corridors, each step echoing softly. The walls glimmered with strange patterns, moving slowly as if alive. Instruments floated beside them, scanning silently. Humans exchanged subtle glances, trying to understand what was happening, but none could predict the aliens' horror. Inside the observation chamber, the humans were seated. Transparent walls allowed them to see the vast interior of the ship, filled with alien technology. Screens displayed their own images, and sensors hovered around their bodies. Every movement was recorded, every heartbeat analyzed. The lead alien doctor returned, carrying a tray of glowing tools. It approached the first human again, focusing on the arm. Another small prick, another drop of blood, and again the reaction was the same. The alien recoiled slightly, touching its own sensors in disbelief. The humans noticed now that the aliens were talking quietly to each other, exchanging fearful looks. One human whispered to another, "Do you think they're afraid of us?" The young woman smiled faintly. "Maybe they don't know what humans can do," she said. Indeed, that was exactly the case. The aliens had faced countless species across galaxies. Many were larger, faster, or stronger than humans, but none had blood like this. It was more than red. It was vibrant, almost glowing with life in a way that made the aliens feel uncertain, even vulnerable. The human man leaned back slightly, testing the calm. He noticed the subtle panic in the aliens' posture. Their confidence was shaken. something he had never seen in any human adversary. A thought sparked in his mind. Humans might be more important than anyone realized, more powerful, even without knowing it. The lead alien doctor finally stepped back, gesturing to the others. "Observe quietly," it said. "Do not alarm them, but understand the blood, it is different. We have never seen this before." The humans, for the first time, understood that they were not just subjects, they were something extraordinary. And even as they sat quietly in the alien chamber, their eyes calm and bright, the aliens felt a growing unease. What kind of creatures were these humans? How could such fragile beings carry such strength in their veins? Outside the chamber, the stars continued to shine, indifferent to the small drama inside the alien ship. But inside, a quiet battle of observation and understanding had begun. Humans, unaware of the full reason, remained calm. Aliens, experts in the universe, were unsettled. The story of humanity had only just begun, and its first chapter would be written in red: human blood. The humans sat quietly inside the alien observation chamber, their eyes scanning the strange surroundings. Every wall shimmered with soft light, and instruments floated silently, analyzing, recording, and observing. The aliens moved gracefully, their every step precise, but an unusual tension hovered in the air. Even the most experienced among them hesitated near the humans. The lead alien doctor watched the humans closely. Its sensor scanned every movement, every heartbeat, every tiny reaction. The data streamed instantly into the ship's main network. Lines of glowing symbols raced across screens, translating biological functions, chemical balances, and cellular activity. Yet, despite centuries of scientific experience, something about humans puzzled them. One young human, a boy of 16, tilted his head slightly as a floating probe hovered near his arm. He watched it with calm curiosity, not fear. The probe drew a small drop of blood, and the moment it did, the aliens reacted again. Their antennae twitched, their eyes widened, and they exchanged whispers filled with unease. "It is impossible," one alien muttered. Its voice trembled slightly, though it tried to remain composed. "Look at the oxygen levels," another said, pointing to a screen. "The circulation is faster, more efficient. And the color, it should not exist. It defies our understanding." The humans began to notice the aliens' reactions. One woman leaned back slightly, her eyes sharp. "They're afraid," she whispered to the man beside her. "Afraid? Of us?" he asked, confused. She smiled faintly. "I think so." The aliens, meanwhile, continued their analysis, trying to hide their growing concern. They examined the human heart, the lungs, and the muscles. Every organ was scanned with instruments that could detect even the smallest irregularities. But the humans were perfect, resilient, adaptable, alive in a way the aliens could not fully comprehend. A particularly confident human, a man in his early 30s, tested the limits of his calm. He flexed his fingers subtly, shifting slightly in his seat. The floating scanners adjusted instantly, following each motion. The aliens' whispers grew more urgent, though still quiet enough for humans to only catch fragments. "This blood, the chemistry, it carries more energy than it should," the lead doctor said quietly. "It is unnatural." The humans exchanged subtle glances. Each understood, without words, that something about them fascinated and frightened the aliens. They had always known humans were resilient, but they were beginning to see the effect their very biology could have on another species. One young woman, curious and brave, asked softly, "Why do you keep looking at us like that?" The aliens froze for a moment. They had not expected direct communication. The lead doctor chose its words carefully. "We study. It is our work," it replied, its voice calm but strained. The humans nodded, pretending to understand, while internally they analyzed the aliens just as carefully. They noticed the subtle hesitations, the unusual glances, and the quiet panic that rippled under the surface of the aliens' calm exterior. Hours passed. The aliens recorded every heartbeat, every breath, and every drop of blood. Their advanced instruments collected mountains of data. Yet each scan only deepened the mystery. Human blood flowed with strength, carrying oxygen efficiently, powering muscles and brains in a way that seemed almost supernatural to the aliens. And the color, bright, vivid red, seemed to hum with life. "We need to understand it," one alien whispered. "If this species exists, we must know how." The humans continued to sit calmly, unaware of the full extent of the aliens' fear. Their presence alone was unsettling. For centuries, the aliens had studied life forms of all kinds, some larger, some faster, some stronger, but none had a combination of resilience, adaptability, and biological efficiency like humans. One young man, observing the floating instruments, realized a subtle truth. Humans were underestimated, not because they were weak, but because they were unpredictable. Their calm presence in the face of such alien scrutiny was a silent challenge, a quiet strength. The lead doctor finally stepped back and convened with its team. Screens displayed every detail: heart rates, blood chemistry, oxygen efficiency, muscle response. And each piece of data only confirmed what they feared most. Humans were extraordinary, not just in strength or intelligence, but in something deeper, something innate that the aliens had never encountered. "We cannot fully explain it," the lead doctor said. "The blood is terrifying." Meanwhile, the humans began to understand the tension. They whispered quietly among themselves, sharing observations. "They don't understand us," the woman said. "They think they do, but they don't." "No," the man agreed, "and that gives us an advantage. We are unpredictable. That is our strength." The aliens returned to their positions, continuing scans but with a growing unease. For the first time in their careers, they faced a life form they could not easily categorize, control, or fully comprehend. Humans, calm and observant, were beginning to assert their presence, not with violence, but with the quiet power of their very existence. As the observation continued, a silent question hung in the air. What exactly were humans? And how had a species so fragile in appearance come to possess such extraordinary inner strength? Outside the chamber, the stars shone, unaware of the small drama unfolding within the alien ship. Inside, however, a subtle battle of wits and biology had begun, a contest of observation, intelligence, and quiet strength. And humans, sitting calmly as the aliens recorded every detail, were winning in ways the aliens did not yet understand. The humans had settled into the observation chamber, their eyes calm, their minds alert. They could sense something had changed in the aliens' behavior. The subtle tremors in their movements, the faint flicker of panic in their glowing eyes, the hurried whispers. Everything told the humans that they were not just subject to study, but anomalies the aliens did not understand. The lead alien doctor stood before a floating display, watching the scans of human blood. Each drop that had been collected seemed to glow with life, more vibrant and strong than any data the aliens had ever encountered. Its voice, usually steady and precise, wavered slightly. This is not possible," it muttered. "The oxygen-carrying molecules, they are exceeding limits. The red color, it should not exist in this form. It is abnormal." Other alien doctors leaned closer, their antennae twitching nervously. They had studied countless species across hundreds of galaxies, yet none had surprised them like humans. Their blood, their biology, and their calmness under scrutiny were unprecedented. One young human, sitting quietly, noticed the aliens' reactions. His brow furrowed slightly, curiosity mixing with a growing sense of power. Humans had always underestimated themselves, but now, observing these experts in panic, he realized humans were extraordinary. The aliens' horror was proof. The lead doctor signaled the others to increase the observation intensity. More probes floated near the humans, sensors adjusting to measure every heartbeat, every pulse of blood. Each new reading confirmed what the aliens feared most. Humans were biologically superior in subtle but undeniable ways. A female human leaned back, noticing the subtle hesitations in the aliens' movements. "They're afraid," she whispered to her companion. "Afraid? Of us?" he asked, unable to hide his amazement. "Yes," she replied, her voice soft but firm. "They don't understand us, and that scares them." Inside the lab, the aliens exchanged data rapidly. Screens lit up with detailed chemical analyses, oxygen efficiency maps, and flow dynamics of blood through human veins. Every piece of information challenged their understanding of biology. For centuries, they had believed they had seen everything life could offer. Now, humans shattered that belief. This species, it is resilient beyond measure, one alien said quietly, almost in disbelief. The heart beats with efficiency. The muscles adapt instantly. And the color, it is vibrant, life-affirming, and yet frightening. The humans noticed the words. They realized that the aliens were beginning to fear them. Not physically, but in the realization that humans were unpredictable, adaptive, and biologically powerful. The lead alien doctor approached the human, holding a small glowing device. It gently drew another drop of blood. The human did not flinch. His calmness only heightened the alien's shock. The color of his blood shimmered under the device's light, a deep, rich red that seemed almost alive. "This cannot be," the lead doctor whispered, more to itself than to anyone else. "We have never encountered such efficiency, such life force." Another human, a young boy, tilted his head slightly, observing the aliens as they whispered among themselves. He had no fear. Instead, he felt curiosity. The humans realized that their very presence, their calmness, and their blood were more powerful than any weapon the aliens could bring. The tension in the room grew. The aliens attempted to continue their observations with professionalism, but every glance at the humans betrayed their fear. They adjusted instruments repeatedly, double-checking readings, but the results never changed. Humans were strong, resilient, and biologically exceptional. One alien whispered to another, "If this blood exists, what else does this species have? What abilities? What potential?" Humans exchanged subtle glances. The knowledge that the aliens were unsure, even panicked, sparked a quiet confidence. They realized that humans were underestimated, not for weakness, but because the aliens could not comprehend their strength. The lead doctor finally addressed the humans, trying to maintain calm authority. "Your blood, it is unusual," it said carefully. "We must study it further." The humans nodded, their expressions neutral, but their minds racing. They understood that this observation was more than science. It was a test, and humans were beginning to pass it in ways the aliens had not anticipated. Hours passed. Every drop of human blood collected revealed new secrets. The aliens' fear grew silently, their horror hidden behind a mask of professionalism. For humans, each observation was a lesson in patience, calm, and subtle strength. By the end of the cycle, the humans were still seated, composed, and unafraid. The aliens, experts in life across galaxies, were unsettled. They had come to study, to understand, but now they faced the unknown. The unknown was not violent. It was human. And in that quiet chamber, a silent realization took root. Humans were not ordinary. They were unpredictable, resilient, biologically astonishing. And for the first time, the aliens understood that this species could not be fully controlled or contained. The humans' calm eyes met the lead doctor's. In that moment, a silent message passed between them. "We are more than you think, and you are beginning to understand it." Outside, the stars continued to shine, indifferent. But inside the alien vessel, a quiet shock spread through its halls. Humans had arrived, not just as subjects, but as a force the universe had yet to fully comprehend. The humans had been under observation for hours. Their calmness, their quiet intelligence, and the unusual properties of their blood had shaken the aliens more than they expected. But the humans were not passive. They were learning, quietly observing the aliens just as the aliens observed them. In a corner of the chamber, a young man noticed a floating scanner hovering close to him. Its movements were precise, programmed to measure every pulse, every tiny reaction. He watched it silently, studying its pattern. Every pause, every slight tilt. It followed a predictable rhythm. A thought sparked in his mind. If he could disrupt the rhythm, even subtly, he could confuse it. The young man gently nudged the edge of a table with his foot. The scanner wobbled slightly, then corrected itself. He smiled faintly. This was small, almost invisible, but it was the beginning. Humans had learned to adapt, to think quickly, and to exploit even the tiniest opportunity. Nearby, the young woman noticed that the instruments floated at fixed intervals above their heads. She whispered to the others, "Watch how they move. Every action is predictable if we pay attention." The man nodded. then we can use that. We are not helpless. Meanwhile, the aliens continued their observations, unaware that the humans were quietly studying them. They spoke in low tones, exchanging data, trying to understand the anomaly that was human blood. Their sensors moved constantly, and their instruments glimmered with light as they recorded every heartbeat. But they underestimated one crucial thing. Humans could think creatively, adapt instantly, and act unpredictably. The first small act of resistance came when the young man subtly tapped a floating probe. It wobbled, then floated off course, causing a minor alarm on one of the alien monitors. The aliens glanced at each other, confused. They tried to recalibrate the device, but humans had noticed its limitations. Another small nudge, another disruption, and the aliens began to realize that their instruments could be manipulated. One alien doctor said in a whisper, They are interfering. That should not be possible. The lead doctor looked concerned. Do not underestimate them. Their calmness, it hides intelligence. Humans exchanged glances, realizing that subtle actions could confuse their captors. It was not a full escape plan yet, nothing so overt, but it was the first assertion of human agency, a quiet defiance, a signal that humans were not just subjects to be studied. They were active participants in this situation. As the day progressed, humans continued their careful observations. They learned the aliens' routines, the way instruments floated, and how each scan worked. One by one, they tested the limits. A probe moved too close to the young woman's arm, and she gently tapped aside. It wobbled, hovered in place, then drifted slightly off its path. The aliens noticed the irregularity and exchanged hurried whispers, their confidence shaken. The lead alien doctor frowned. They are clever and adaptive. This is unexpected. For humans, this was a moment of revelation. They realized their intelligence and adaptability were not just survival traits. They were weapons in themselves. Without aggression, without violence, they could challenge even the most advanced species in the galaxy. A young boy, observing the patterns of floating instruments, whispered, They think they control us. But we are learning faster than they realize. The young woman nodded. And if we stay calm, they can't predict our next move. We are stronger than they think. By evening, the humans had subtly manipulated several devices, each minor action unnoticed or misinterpreted by the aliens. The aliens were becoming more cautious, their movements slower, their whispers urgent. They began to realize that these humans were not like any species they had studied before. Humans were unpredictable, creative, and resilient, traits that no machine could fully anticipate. The lead alien doctor observed the humans closely, its sensors reading minute changes in their physiology. Every calm gesture, every small manipulation of the environment, signaled intelligence and adaptability far beyond what they expected. Fear and admiration mixed in the aliens' thoughts. For the first time, they were unsure what humans could truly do. Humans, calm and composed, shared silent understanding among themselves. They were learning the ship, the aliens, and the instruments. Each small act of resistance was a test, a statement, and a preparation for what might come next. The young man leaned back slightly, watching a probe drift slightly off course after a gentle nudge. He smiled. They think they understand us, he whispered. But we are different. The aliens realized that observation alone could not contain these humans. Their calmness, intelligence, and subtle defiance had begun to shift the balance. The humans were proving, quietly but powerfully, that they were not helpless. In the quiet chamber, a new tension settled. The aliens studied humans, but now humans were studying the aliens back. A silent contest of intelligence, adaptability, and calm strength had begun. And humans, without a single aggressive move, were already winning small victories in the most important battle, understanding. Outside, the stars shone steadily. Inside, humans sat quietly, aware that their first small act of resistance had changed everything. They were no longer passive subjects. They were active, clever, and unpredictable. And the aliens, experts across galaxies, were beginning to understand the power of the human mind and the danger it represented. The chamber was silent, except for the soft hum of alien instruments. Humans sat calmly, their eyes scanning the strange room, quietly observing the aliens who had been studying them for days. Every glance, every whisper, betrayed the unease the aliens felt. The human calmness was unnerving. But now the aliens knew they could not keep their secret any longer. The lead alien doctor floated to the center of the chamber, its sensors scanning the humans one final time. "You humans," it said slowly, choosing its words carefully, "your blood, it is extraordinary. It defies our understanding." The humans exchanged glances. Their curiosity was piqued. They had noticed the aliens' reactions for days, and now the truth was coming to light. "What do you mean?" asked the young woman, her voice calm but steady. The lead doctor hesitated. It was difficult to explain. Their civilization had studied thousands of species. They had cataloged every possible form of life, every chemical composition, every blood type imaginable. But human blood, the deep red, the vibrant color, the efficient flow, it was unlike anything in the galaxy. "It carries energy," the alien finally said. "Oxygen efficiency, cellular strength, life force. Your blood is more powerful than any we have encountered. The color, the chemistry, it indicates a level of resilience we have never seen. You can endure conditions that would kill others instantly." The humans listened carefully, their calm expressions hiding a growing sense of pride. They were ordinary in appearance, but their biology, their very existence, was exceptional. The aliens were horrified, not with fear of violence, but with awe at their resilience. A young boy spoke softly, curiosity in his eyes. "You mean humans are stronger than other species?" "Yes," the lead doctor admitted reluctantly. "Stronger, more adaptable. Your blood indicates potential beyond comprehension. It carries oxygen more efficiently, powers your muscles and brains with incredible endurance, and your immune systems, they can resist conditions that would destroy others." The humans' calm confidence grew. They had always been underestimated, and now the truth was clear. Even in a room full of the most advanced alien scientists in the galaxy, humans were extraordinary. One human, a man in his early 30s, leaned back slightly. "So you were afraid of us all along," he said quietly, almost a statement rather than a question. The lead alien doctor paused, then nodded slowly. "Yes, not in the sense of immediate danger, but fear of the unknown. Your species is unpredictable, adaptive, and biologically remarkable. Your calmness hides strength. Your blood, it terrifies us because it represents potential beyond our understanding." The humans shared subtle glances, realizing the aliens were right. Humans had survived countless disasters, adapted to harsh environments, and now, in a room of beings who had explored the stars, they were still standing, calm and unafraid. The lead doctor continued, "We thought observation would allow control, but your intelligence, your adaptability, your resilience, it cannot be contained. The blood is only a symbol. The true power of humans lies in your ability to endure, to adapt, and to remain calm in the face of the unknown." The young woman nodded slowly. "So everything you've studied about us is just the surface?" "Yes," the lead doctor admitted. "You are more than we anticipated. Every calculation, every prediction, it failed. Your blood, your biology, it is extraordinary. But your minds, your calmness, your unpredictability, that is what makes you truly remarkable." The humans realized something important. The aliens' fear was not weapons, nor strength in battle. It was fear of humans themselves, of their biology, their adaptability, and the quiet power they carried in every heartbeat. A young man smiled faintly. "So you see now why we are dangerous without even trying?" The lead doctor's antennae twitched, a subtle gesture of acknowledgement. "Yes, your species is remarkable. We are both horrified and in awe. We did not expect to encounter life like this." For the humans, this was a moment of silent triumph. They had not fought, not attacked, not used weapons, and yet they had revealed their strength. Their biology, their calm, their intelligence had spoken louder than any words could. Outside, the stars continued to shine, indifferent to the drama inside the alien vessel. But inside, humans sat quietly, fully aware of their uniqueness. The aliens, Experts across galaxies had been forced to confront the truth. Humans were extraordinary, unpredictable, and biologically remarkable. And in that quiet chamber, a silent respect began to grow. Humans were no longer just subjects of study. They were beings worthy of caution, admiration, and perhaps even fear. The revelation was complete. The color of human blood was not just a chemical anomaly. It was a symbol of humanity's strength, endurance, and quiet dominance. The lead alien doctor floated back to its instruments, speaking to its team. We must continue observation, but with caution. Humans are exceptional. We underestimated them. We must understand all of them. The humans, sitting calmly, understood their victory. They had not moved aggressively, yet they had demonstrated power that no alien technology could ignore. And so, the revelation settled in. Humans were extraordinary, not through brute force, but through resilience, intelligence, adaptability, and a quiet power flowing in every drop of their red, life-giving blood. The humans had learned much in the days they had spent under alien observation. Every floating instrument, every corridor, every pattern of alien movement had been memorized. Their calmness, which had already unsettled the aliens, now became a tool. They understood that patience and intelligence could be more powerful than weapons. In a corner of the chamber, the young man who had first nudged the scanners whispered to the group, "We know their routines. Their instruments follow patterns. Their guards move in predictable sequences. We can use that." The young woman nodded. "Yes, small actions, subtle changes. We don't have to rush. The moment they underestimate us, we act." The aliens, unaware of the humans' growing confidence, continued their observation. They were still fascinated and horrified by the human blood, but their attention had begun to narrow. They believed humans were impressive but contained. After all, they controlled the technology, the corridors, and the chambers. That was their mistake. The humans quietly moved in small groups, pretending to comply with every instruction, all while testing the limits of the instruments around them. One by one, they manipulated the floating probes, nudging them slightly off course, creating tiny glitches in the monitoring systems. The aliens noticed, but they dismissed it as minor errors. "Just small steps," the young man whispered. "One error at a time. We learn, we observe, we wait for the right moment." Hours passed. The humans had quietly mapped the entire observation wing. They knew where each alien guard would pause, where each instrument would drift, and the timing of every scan. The young woman examined the door controls, advanced but not infallible. She whispered, "If we synchronize our movements, we can slip past the sensors without triggering alarms." The humans were calm, but their minds worked rapidly. They communicated silently with subtle gestures, eyes, and hand signals. Every member of the group understood their role. Patience was a weapon. Observation was their strategy. Finally, the opportunity arrived. A shift change among the alien guards created a brief window. Sensors recalibrated. Instruments drifted in predictable patterns. And the lead alien doctor moved toward the central lab, unaware of the humans' intentions. "Now," whispered the young man. The humans moved as one, slowly, carefully, using shadows and sensor patterns to guide their steps. A probe floated close to one of them. The young woman tapped it lightly. It drifted away, appearing to the aliens as a minor glitch. Another instrument hovered near their path, and the young boy mimicked the previous nudge, creating a second small error. The aliens glanced at the readings. "Minor fluctuations," one whispered. "Nothing serious." The humans smiled quietly. Small errors were enough to confuse even the most advanced technology. Every step they took was calculated, every movement deliberate. They were learning faster than the aliens could adapt. As they approached the exit corridor, the young man whispered, "Almost there. Stay calm. Predictable calm." The doors ahead were locked electronically. The young woman examined the control panel. With a subtle gesture, she mimicked a sequence she had observed earlier. The system accepted it. A soft click, and the door slid open silently. The humans slipped through, one by one. Their movements were slow, deliberate, but invisible to the sensors. They had learned patience, and patience had become their shield. Behind them, the lead alien doctor finally noticed irregularities. They are moving differently, it said urgently. The reading's impossible. They are bypassing the systems. Panic spread among the other alien doctors. They activated instruments, sending probes in all directions, but the humans had already anticipated the paths. Each probe was deflected, nudged, or avoided without triggering alarms. The humans reached a wider corridor leading to the ship's lower decks. The engines hummed softly, lights flickering across metal surfaces. The young man whispered, almost free, "Keep calm. Observe everything." Suddenly, a floating scanner appeared directly in their path. The young woman's hand flicked a small panel nearby, releasing a burst of mist. The scanner's sensors were momentarily blinded. The humans moved quickly through the gap. The lead alien doctor floated the corridor, its eyes wide. Impossible. They predicted every move. The humans paused briefly, reaching the exit bay. One of the doors led to a smaller craft capable of reaching the surface. The controls were sophisticated, but human intelligence, observation, and adaptability proved more than sufficient. The young boy manipulated the panel, mimicking the alien sequence. Lights blinked green. The door unlocked. One by one, the humans entered craft. Their calmness never wavered, though adrenaline coursed through their veins. The young man whispered, "We are not just surviving, we are proving our strength." The aliens, frantic, activated alarms, but it was too late. The craft lifted silently, slipping to the lower decks, moving toward the main exit of the alien ship. The humans had escaped the chamber, the observation wing, and now they were on their way back to the surface of their world. The lead alien doctor watched helplessly as the humans' craft disappeared. "We underestimated them," it whispered, a mixture of fear and awe in its voice. Not just their blood, but their minds, their patience, their unpredictability. They are extraordinary. Outside, the stars shimmered, indifferent to the small rebellion inside the ship. But for the humans, this was more than escape. It was a lesson. Calm intelligence, observation, and subtle action could overcome even the most advanced alien civilization. And in that moment, humans understood something the aliens would never forget. They were extraordinary, not just in body, but in mind, strategy, and courage. They were not mere captives. They were the masters of their own destiny. The human craft descended swiftly, cutting to the alien ship's lower atmosphere, moving closer to the surface of their home planet. Inside, the humans sat calmly, though their hearts raced. Each had played their part perfectly. Every observation, every subtle manipulation of alien technology had led them here. They were free, not by brute force, but by intelligence, adaptability, and patience. The aliens, meanwhile, were in chaos. The lead alien doctor floated back to the central chamber, scanning frantically. "They escaped?" it whispered, disbelief echoing in its voice. "Impossible. Every calculation, every protocol, they defied us." Another alien replied, antennae trembling, "It is not just the blood, it is their minds. Their calm, their unpredictability. They are extraordinary." On the human craft, the young woman looked at her companions. "They still don't understand us," she said softly. "Even now, they think this was luck. They don't see our strength." The young man nodded. "Strength is not just in arms. It is in patience, observation, and intelligence. They have studied us for days, but they still don't understand the most important part. Humans are unpredictable, and that is why we are dangerous." Outside, the alien vessel scanned horizon, sending small reconnaissance drones after craft. But humans anticipated every move. They had studied the alien pattern for days. Every drone was avoided, every sensor bypassed. The aliens realized, too late, that humans had not just survived. They had learned, adapted, and outsmarted. The craft touched down on solid ground. The humans stepped out, their eyes scanning the stars above. They were free, but more importantly, they had proven something to the universe and to themselves. Humans were not weak. Humans were resilient, intelligent, and clever. They could face the unknown, adapt, and prevail. The lead alien doctor observed from orbit, silent and humbled. They are remarkable, it said, not merely in biology. Their minds, their strategy, their calm determination. We underestimated them. We fear their blood, but their minds, that is what makes them truly extraordinary. The humans, standing on their home planet, looked at each other. The young boy, who had helped manipulate the sensors, smiled faintly. "We did it," he said softly. "Yes," the young woman agreed. "But this is only the beginning. They will remember our species. They will respect us, or fear us. Either way, they will know humans are not to be underestimated." The young man looked at the horizon, at the stars beyond. "And we will be ready. Humans always are." Meanwhile, aboard the alien vessel, discussions began among the scientists. "We must reevaluate everything," one alien said. "Their biology, their intelligence, their unpredictability. Humans are beyond comparison." The lead doctor's voice was quiet but firm. "We must not attempt further experiments. Not yet. This species, it is exceptional. We cannot predict their next move. We are fortunate they did not retaliate further." Back on Earth, the humans gathered together. Their blood had already survived scrutiny. Their minds had overcome observation. They had been underestimated, feared, and studied, but they had emerged victorious without violence, without anger, and without haste. It was a lesson in restraint, intelligence, and adaptability. Humans had shown the universe that strength is not only measured by weapons, speed, or numbers. True strength lies in calmness, observation, cleverness, and the courage to act decisively when the moment arrives. As the alien ship disappeared into the stars, the humans looked up. Their hearts were steady, their minds alert. They had triumphed not through force, but through the qualities that defined humanity: resilience, adaptability, and intelligence. The lead alien doctor would remember the humans' calm eyes, their clever maneuvers, and their extraordinary blood. It would warn other species, catalog their capabilities, and respect them from a distance. The aliens had learned an important truth. Humans were not just another species in the galaxy. They were a force to be reckoned with, unpredictable and remarkable in every way. The humans looked at each other and smiled faintly. The stars above held countless mysteries, countless challenges, but they were ready. They had survived. They had outsmarted the most advanced beings in the galaxy. And humanity, in all its calm, clever, and resilient glory, had triumphed. In the quiet night, the humans' blood still flowed strong and red, a symbol of life, strength, and resilience. The universe had witnessed it. And from that day forward, humanity would be remembered, not as fragile creatures, but as extraordinary beings who had faced the unknown and emerged victorious. The humans had returned to Earth, their feet touching solid ground with the calm confidence of those who had faced the unknown and prevailed. Yet, the stars above remained quiet but watchful. The alien ship had retreated, but had not forgotten. Somewhere beyond the atmosphere, the lead alien doctor observed the retreating human craft, its sensors flickering in concern. "They are unlike anything we have seen," it whispered to its team. "Their blood, their minds, their unpredictability. We underestimated them. We cannot allow that again." Back on Earth, the humans gathered quietly. They shared no words about the aliens' horror, no tales of fear or anger. Instead, they analyzed, they observed, they planned. Every detail of the alien ship, the instruments, the corridors, the technology had been memorized. Every anomaly and every reaction of the aliens was stored in memory, a silent archive for the future. The young woman spoke softly, her eyes scanning the night sky. "They learned about our blood, but we learned about them too. Their technology, their patterns. We can use that knowledge if they return." The young man nodded, a faint smile crossed his face. "And they will return. They always do. But we will be ready. We survived before and we will survive again." The young boy, curious and clever as ever, pointed to a faint shimmer in the distance, the subtle glow of the alien ship retreating into orbit. "Do they watch us now?" he asked. "Perhaps," said the young woman. "But we are humans, calm, clever, and unpredictable. They cannot fully understand us. And that is our greatest strength. High above, the lead alien doctor transmitted a signal back to its home planet. The data they had collected on humans would be studied, analyzed, and debated for generations. Yet, even their most advanced calculations could not fully grasp the full potential of humanity. Every calculation had underestimated them. Every prediction had failed. The humans, meanwhile, returned to their daily lives. They laughed, they shared stories, they rested, but their minds were sharper than ever. Every heartbeat reminded them of the strength flowing in their veins. They knew the universe had underestimated them, but they also knew one truth. Humans were extraordinary, and the galaxy would learn that one day, whether peacefully or in conflict. The stars shimmered above, indifferent yet infinite, and somewhere in that vast darkness, a quiet tension simmered. The aliens had retreated, but they would not forget. Humanity's calm defiance, intelligence, and resilience had left an imprint on the galaxy, a subtle warning and a bold declaration. And so humanity waited, not in fear, but in preparation. Every glance of the sky reminded them that they were unique, unpredictable, and ready. The echoes of their victory over the unknown would resonate across the cosmos, and one day, when the universe dared to challenge them again, humans would rise, calm, clever, and unstoppable. The blood in their veins pulsed red and strong, a living testament to resilience, adaptability, and the quiet power of being human. The story was far from over, but the universe had already learned one undeniable truth. Humanity is extraordinary,